favorite songs by them. This next song is a song called Lives for the Living, and I actually performed this one at the open mic. And this song has a very special meaning and a very nice poetical lyrics. And one of my best friends passed away, and he actually introduced me to this song. And I want to dedicate this song to my friend and to all of you guys in memory of all of our lost loved ones. Well, the gray clouds wrapped around town like elastic. Cars still like toys, made of Taiwanese plastic. The boys laugh at the spastic, dancing around free. Loud laundries, clean clothes, high heels, rubbed toes. Puddles, splash shadows, a bus stop crows.
Who's in my poetry class, and so also a wonderful poet in addition to a wonderful musician. We're going to hear next from Kalani Kapukap, and he is studying electrical engineering, and it's a decision he made when he had to compile his own generator to power his music equipment at a farmer's market. Impressive. So please give a warm welcome to Kalani Kapukap.
This first song is about where I live. I live by Kailupulu Pond in China Lakes, and one night I was looking out at the lake or pond, and I was imagining, what did it look like 200 years ago before it was all stink? And I kind of got inspired and wrote this song, so it's called River from the Sea. My last song, and it's called Balance Me, and this is a song I wrote for my girlfriend.
audience right now. Yes? So thanks so much for being here for Out Loud in the Library. So we're going to celebrate the 35th anniversary of Bamboo Ridge Press, their new journal. So how many of you know about Bamboo Ridge Press? Any of you? Some of you? Great, wonderful. So by the end of tonight, all of you will know about Bamboo Ridge Press. So it was started 35 years ago by Daryl Lum and Eric Chalk. And if you end up transferring from here and going to UH West Oahu, you may take a class with Eric Chalk. So I actually thought that I would read a poem from an old Bamboo Ridge to get us started. So this is I had to make photocopies. I couldn't take it out of the room. So this is a poem from 1985, and it's called The Valley of the Temples. So I thought it would be a good one to read here. This is the first time Bamboo Ridge has had a reading on the windward side, right?
That's correct.
Yes. So excited for this to happen. So this is a poem by a woman named Kathy Phillips. The Valley of the Temples. After driving past hills like cleats, after arriving at the Valley of the Temples, after emptying one's wallet at the turnstile, after shooting the big log toward the big bell, after fussing at a knotted shoelace on the threshold of the shrine, after snapping photos of the big Buddha, after looking at carp like blue plates, like flecks of gilt peeling, like a bag of orange and yellow and brown floating M&Ms, after waiting in vain for the peacocks to show, after driving to the beach, after forgetting to lock the car and finding the camera stolen, finding that the Buddha cannot be pictured, leaving only footprints like nothing. Oh, that was really wonderful. It made me sort of reflect on like the difficulty of trying to capture about a moment, an image, or a feeling, an idea. But that's what we do. We struggle to try to get these things into words or songs or photos, paintings. So thanks so much for being here, and thanks so much to Bamboo Ridge. So our first reader is Donald Herrera Ching, who was born and raised in Kahalu, and he earned his MA in creative writing from UH Manoa. And he's won many awards, including the Ian McMillan Award for Fiction. His first novel, Between Sky and the Sea, A Family's Struggle, is going to be published by Bamboo Ridge in 2015. So please welcome Donald.
First of all, welcome everybody. Thank you to Janine Oshiro for having us today, for giving Bamboo Ridge the opportunity. Thank you everybody for coming out, supporting local literature. As Janine was telling you folks, Bamboo Ridge for 35 years has been fostering the culture and the arts here in Hawaii. Many of Hawaii's most beloved writers, Lee Cataluna, Lois and Yamanaka, Mitana Uchi, Janine Oshiro, have been published in the press, and many more established and emerging voices continue to be published by the press. If you do like what you hear today, please tell your friends, share your experiences, pick up a copy of the journal. We'll be having them on sale for a special price after the reading. We also have, if you want to sign up for our mailing list, you can do so with me, and you can find out all the latest news from Bamboo Ridge. Oh, and right. Okay. I'll be sharing two pieces with you folks today. One will be from issue 100, which is out of stock right now, but can be picked up online as an ebook. And the other will be from the new issue, which is perfectly themed for the holidays there. Okay. As my bio kind of stated, I'm born and raised in Kahalu, and a lot of my writing focuses on place and my experiences here. And this first piece is really kind of centered in that sense of place and my upbringing, and it's called What Was. When I was a kid, there was a woman going door to door, asking all the children in my neighborhood to take a survey. $50 if you can believe it, and all you had to do was fill out a form. She asked me how old I was, where I was born, what my parents did for a living, all things I was then. The topic changed quickly, and soon she started to ask me what I knew about Special K, Oxy, Pacololo. The valley had just begun rallying to rid itself of something we were finding out had claimed more than anyone knew, more than anyone could know. I was probably 12 then. What did I care about this shit anyway? Just give me the $50 and move along. 5 minutes later, she did. Even in high school, it was more about weed than anything else. A neighbor up the road gave me rides to school in his Hamajang Red Integra, the W2 making the trunk rattle as we swerved in and out of traffic on days we were late, trying to make it to Castle in 15 minutes flat, only to cut out of class anyway. He would smoke occasionally, never heavy, while I shot Southern Comfort in the back roads near Kapuna Hollow. Weed was weed. You could get high and still laugh at chronics like our friend Mike, telling us about seeing the world in a different color while he loaded himself with painkillers from his mother's medicine cabinet right outside the gas station where he worked. A few years later, I started to hear things. The breeze that sweeps through the ko'olaus carry with it whispers that no one else dare discuss, and that I finally began to put together for myself. It still wasn't your son, your daughter. It was theirs. It was the neighbor who paces back and forth in his house, yelling at the birds he keeps locked away in cages, so filthy the smell spills out onto the street. It was the guy from high school, you know the one, good guy. Played football, real akamai. For real, you sure? No can be. And when you saw him that first time, even if he looked the same, you saw him in the light of 1,000 stories, countless news breaks and special editions, his picture in the same paper that lined the cages, shitted on daily, and suddenly no one wants to knock on his door and ask him even once where he's from or what his parents have done.
Melendez, who is a writer and editor, and you may see his work in Abstract Magazine, in Honolulu Magazine, and other local publications, which include Bamboo Ridge. And he says, Puerto Rican by blood, Long Islander by birth, and has called Hawaii home for 20 years. So please give a hand to Richard.
So again, the story's name is Inertia. The old gang all knew about the divorce and the whys behind it. Some were bothered, some weren't. No one said anything either way. They just nodded, smiled, made nice. But all were confused by the invitation. They just assumed that the ritual New Year's Day brunch would fade away along with the marriage of the couple who threw the celebration each year to commemorate their anniversary. Delia, I don't think this is a good idea. Why not? Delia straightened Oscar's collar while they stood in the restaurant lobby. We're not married no more, so why throw this party still? Because it's tradition. Oscar shook his head. Why, what's bothering you? Nothing. Oscar? Just don't feel like being here, that's all. Well, we're here already. Everybody's already at the table, can't turn back now. I don't even like this place. What? We've been coming here for brunch for 40 years. Why do you only tell me that now? I never like stir the pot. Oscar peeked around the corner at the old gang gathered around their usual table, talking amongst themselves. No doubt wondering why the heck they were all there, he thought. Delia, he whined. Come, let's go. She grabbed Oscar's hand and dragged him out into the main dining room area. When their friends saw them walking in, they all stood up wearing huge smiles, arms outstretched. Esther and Roland draped leis around their necks. Pikaki for Delia, tea leaf for Oscar, just like on their wedding day. Esther used to make the leis every year till arthritis took over, and now her daughters or granddaughters have picked up her slack. Tommy, already a bit tipsy from Bloody Marys, presented Oscar with the usual case of beer, complete with a huge ribbon and finger holes poked through the awkward wrapping job for easier carrying. His Dolores was on the other side of the table hugging Delia and gushing over her mumu. Robert gave Oscar a firm handshake and a one-armed half-torso hug. He didn't say anything, but Robert was usually the quiet one, more so since Sonia left him 2 years earlier. After filling their plates at the buffet, they returned to the table where the men talked about football and golf while they drank like it was a dinner party. The women gossiped and spoke fondly of their grandchildren, sipping their champagne. It was meant to be a celebration after all. Traditions die hard, and nobody knew how else to pass this day other than the way they always have. Somewhere between the second and third passes at the buffet line, Dolores said, Delia, Oscar, Even though you're not married anymore, I'm so happy you still did this. It was directed to the once and former couple, but intentionally loud enough for all to hear. Oscar smiled uncomfortably, somewhat embarrassed that someone called attention to the ending of the marriage. Delia's smile was a proud one, a quiet, I told you so for Oscar. What else are we gonna do? Things change, people come and go, but we still gotta do the brunch. Yeah, me and Esther didn't know what we were gonna do this year. We almost want to make plans with the in-laws. Good thing you still have this. I never like hang out with her family. Dolores slapped Tommy playfully on the forearm while everyone laughed. Roland raised his glass. Toast for all of us. God bless. Everybody raised their glasses and toasted to something big and heartwarming, even if they didn't quite know what it was. Psst. Well, we all pretending, huh? Like everything's fine. Robert stood up, noticeably drunk. He was so quiet the whole meal.
Thanks, Richard. Our next reader is Joseph Stanton. And so I had such a great time in the Hawaiian room looking at all these old journals. And I found in 1985, Joseph Stanton was a judge for a student contest issue, right? Yes. And so there was this wonderful poem written by a student. And so I thought I'd read it. So this is from spring 1985. And it's called Childhood. I bathe in a volcano and wash my hands in a campfire. I take a shower in the sun, but candle flames only annoy me like rain. Fire can be refreshing if you are frozen. I used to want to eat clouds. Isn't that wonderful? It's written by a student named Oleg P. Hermansky. So Joseph Stanton teaches at UH Manoa. He's a professor of art history and American studies, and also the author of 4 books and other sort of books, including one on Edward Gorey, which I'd love to hear more about later. Please welcome Joseph Stanton.
And I'd like to read actually first the poem that was in Bamboo Ridge, this issue, which actually fits in with my wildlife series of poems. This is called Scorpion. The scorpion, poison-pointed tail raised, waits on my kitchen floor. We get these bad guys because our house abuts a ravine. I clap a jar over him, its lid I slide under him, and his fate is sealed. I add him to my collection. 4 jars, 1 scorpion in each. On my bookshelf, in front of my stacks of poetry books. Sharp reminders of what words can do. And there's a sort of debate in aesthetics about, poetry and truth can, it's been argued that poetry can only make pseudo statements. So just, so I can affirm the truth of my poem, here's one of my jars with a scorpion in it. You can check out that.
Our last reader tonight is Kevin Wan, and he received his MA in Creative Writing from UH Manoa. And his interests include filmmaking, martial arts, cooking, and non-political drawings with his 3-year-old daughter. He got into writing because he loves the smell of books. Please welcome Kevin.
But anyway, my piece, it's not as culturally adept as the professor's was. I had a cousin who's ASD, is autistic, and I guess in a lot of ways I looked up to him. A lot of things that he could do that I couldn't do, even though there was a lot of things that he wished he could do that I could do. And I guess as I wrote this piece, I discovered that for every sort of classified disability, I think there exists in everybody sort of a complementary superpower, for lack of a better word. And so anyway, the story, this this is a snippet from my short story. It starts at, the main character's name is Daniel. It starts at his friend Lily's 15th birthday party, and her uncle and cousin invited him to play the first hole of golf, and this is at Wildlife Country Club. So, Father told me to go because he thought it would be good for me to interact with more regular people. He meant normal, because I'm not normal. That's what the social worker in the linen blouse and beige lipstick told my father last Monday at 12:03 p.m. I pretended to be eating my macaroni and cheese and watching PBS. The TV was turned up extra loud, but their voices were echoing off the back wall, because wood does that. I tilted my head at exactly negative 46.7 degrees on the XZ axis. I can move my body with the precision of a robot, and I know exactly how it has to move at that exact moment. But that's not why I'm weird. I was able to solve complex equations using string theory before I could even spell the word babble. I compute these variables automatically without writing them down because they appear in front of me, floating sinuously. And throughout all this, I rarely utter a single word. I make certain sounds, but mostly write stuff down to let my father know when I want something. Sometimes I wish I could explain why I respond to things the way I do, why it is I cannot control my behavior the way most people are able to, why it is that I need to carry a plastic fork with me with 3 prongs wherever I go, and why I can only eat my meals one way at a specific time of day. But that's still not why the young social worker labeled me as not normal.
Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for being here for Out Loud in the Library. We will have Spring Out Loud in the Library, and it will feature your wonderful language arts professors. So not only do they teach, they also write. We're writers. So hopefully thank you to our librarians